Greetings, travelers. I love when we do it together. It's great.
Yes, we have a bonus travel. We have a bonus ET person today, so to speak, which is Carrie, the amazing Carrie Schultz, who's our illustrator.
Yay.
And yes, by the way, greetings. I missed the synchronization.
Okay, well, see, now we have to just start the whole episode
all right,
again.
We gotta start all over again. All right, 1, 2, 3. Greetings, travelers.
Okay, that was
almost
close enough. Close enough.
Moving forward.
Yeah, so we have been doing a lot of traveling, actually. So, you know, which is what we do. We travel around and we go see a lot of locations, stories, events. So I guess we should shout out to all the travelers that we've seen that have come to see us at the events. So it's been wonderful to meet all of you.
It's always
you can always go to eerietravels.com to see what events we have coming up.
Yep. I've been trying to keep that updated. Added some more last week.
Yes. So we being me and Mark just got back from the Grafton Monster Festival. So
it's our first time there for the fest. We've been invited a couple years, but it's always fallen on when we were doing something else. And then one year I got super ill.
We were so sick. We couldn't do it last year.
Yeah.
I'm glad that finally came to be.
And we had threats of horrific weather the entire time, which also Carrie did at her event, which was
Spruce Pine Alien Festival.
And that was in North Carolina.
Yes.
Little
town of Spruce Pine.
Yeah, Spruce Pine, which had been damaged by severe flooding during Helene, and it's getting back on its feet. It's beautiful. I'm so glad it's growing. What was the organization?
Oh shoot!
Rebuilding Hollers.
Yes,
Rebuilding Hollers was one of the organizations there that was raising funds to keep helping, which is great.
Shout out, we are not completely fixed from Helene still. So North Carolina, and I assume Tennessee probably too, still needs help for the smaller places that people still don't have houses. The entire lower side street, which was underwater, is still being rebuilt. All of one business has reopened down there. So it's not fixed yet.
And some of the businesses even up on the main street just reopened right before the festival. So
exactly. So do send your support. There are still organizations. I know it's been some time, but we even saw that while driving. There are still tons of roads that are under construction or need to be repaired, that sort of thing. So yes, absolutely. But Carrie, why don't you talk first a little bit about your festival and what that was like?
It was really fun. We'd never been there before. I went the day before, and I actually went through Burnside is the neighboring town. I wanted to catch a yarn shop there, and the lady there was super nice. I got to talk to a few nice people there. And then I went over to set up my tent the night before, and I did my wandering that time because once the festival started, I did not have time to go anywhere. I really like their downtown. They have a fun mix of shops, and it's one really, really long street. So they honestly planned it really well. Basically, there was a shuttle at either end of the street. So pretty much everyone who came was able to walk the entire street and see everything. There was a ton of food. There was a ton of different vendors. It was really awesome. And also a ton of people dressed up as aliens, which was super cool.
You got to love that. You absolutely have to love that. That sounds like so much fun. And I know some travelers came up to you and were excited to do that and got our new book, Dark Side of the Smokies.
Yes. And shout out to Dot's Adventures because they filmed there. So they have a good video up on YouTube if you want to see what it was like. And they remembered us from Smoky Mountain Terror, I think it was.
And other events.
So
Dot's Adventures is a great YouTube channel to watch. They're good people, good friends. And they even cosplayed as Braxy.
Yes!
Yay! We love Braxy, which
it was super cute.
Which is super fun. And you were there, and that area, they talked a lot about the Brown Mountain Lights and some of the other alien
Brown Mountain Lights. And somebody told me that it's a little harder to see them now that the trees have grown up. So actually the best viewing might be from other peaks. Someone told me Wiseman's Peak, So maybe ask around for the best viewing if you want to go out and do that. But it seems like it's really worth doing.
Yeah, Wiseman's Peak's really good. If you really want different lights that aren't as hard to see from their own location, is the Thomas Divide Overlook, which is
Yes.
in Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains, coming out soon. Get your pre-orders in. And we went up there, and wow, that's a show. As crazy as Brown Mountain lights are, Thomas Divide almost never disappoints. They're both amazing. Ghost lights. We'll get into that on a future episode.
I was going to say that's another episode that hopefully X won't get mad about, but it's amazing, and there's a lot of alien activity. So they do that festival every year. So add it to your calendar, travelers, because that's a great travel to do that. Yeah. And Carrie, didn't you eat like at a fun restaurant or something like that down there?
Yeah, I went and ate at the Thai table, which had just reopened a couple days ago, and that was delicious.
Yeah.
And I had some of the food truck food while I was there.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
You gotta love.
And what was the comic shop?
Oh, it was like Greg's Comics.
Greg's Comics, something. Yeah.
It was such an old school comic shop. I wanted to go in so bad, but I didn't get a chance. But it was totally the like wall to wall of just stuff kind of style store from what I peeked in.
That is so awesome. So then me and Mark, because we had to divide and conquer, headed towards the Grafton Monster Festival, which meant me and Mark had to go a bunch of windy roads, starting with first our jaunt up to the infamous Bench Leg territory.
Bench Leg headquarters. So near Louisa, Kentucky. Shout out to the big bro for letting us use his land up there, the old family land, to use as a headquarters. And then we headed the next day to Grafton, and we hit a lot of fun places on the way that are going to be in the next book, Dark Heart of Appalachia.
Yes, because I got my first experience going to Flatwoods Museum, which is actually in Sutton, West Virginia, and not in Flatwoods. And it was a little confusing, but I think a lot of it has to do with, Mark told me that the town was, the towns don't always want to accept that there was these weird things that happened. So in Sutton, they have a wonderful Flatwoods Museum, and it has all the original articles, stories from the original witnesses, artwork from them. It's always fun to remember that our lovely friend, the Flatwood Monster, aka Braxy, did not have arms per the original sightings, but they got drawn in. So that's super fun. And Carrie's artwork shows it as it was, not as it later became. And so we got to visit with them. I got my glow in the dark Braxy t-shirt, which is a must-have when you go to the Flatwoods Museum.
I love
that. They've got great shirts, but that's the must. But Erika, what did you think of the table in the lobby of the museum? There's a special sign there that I think made you second guess yourself.
It didn't make me second guess myself. It made me very excited. I did a little video, which I'll share with all the travelers, but it's because there's a sign on the table there that says absolutely no seances. So
kind of wonder what happened there.
The entire museum was in Erika's heart with a big giant nope. So that was really amazing. And
we walked down the block to another great place,
which is the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum. And and they have an amazing, like, you think small town, whatever. First of all, Sutton, West Virginia, shout out, we'll tag you in this, amazing hospitality, amazingly cute downtown district that they're revitalizing and everything like that. So that's really, really neat. And then we walked into the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum, and they have a huge festival every year that probably is bigger than Mothman. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, just because of conflicts, we weren't able to do it this year. But next year, we're hoping to be there to see all of our travelers up there. But I got to go through Bigfoot Museum. They have a ton of the little prints of
cast,
Bigfoot's feet, the casts, and different sizes. It really makes you think a lot about that. And they have an adorable gift store and super fun. And we got to meet the owner and the person who's running the West Carolina Bigfoot Festival. He was amazing. So super shout
West
out
Virginia
there.
Bigfoot Festival, West Carolina later.
Yeah. And so in West Virginia, sorry. And then here's the thing that was very interesting to me. Mark gets me in the car, I'm driving, and he says, hey, there's a couple other spots I want to go see. So he starts giving me directions. And well, first of all, we stopped before we went anywhere to grab some ice cream at the spot, which is near one of the Grafton chairs, which is awesome. And I got to see a few of those, which are the not Grafton, sorry. Oh my gosh, my brain. So many things. Flatwoods monster chairs. And they're the size of the Flatwoods Braxy. And they're all different artists. Mark, do you want to talk a little bit about those? Because we got to see a few of them while we were up there.
We went to a few of them because they're scattered all around Braxton County. They are different artists' interpretations of Braxy, but they are all the size of Braxy. So they're all about 10 feet tall, which is the size of the Flatwoods Monster. If you go to the Flatwoods Monster Museum's website, they have a map to all of them and why they are where they are for the significant parts of the events. It's pretty cool. And if you go to all of them and then go back to the museum and take a picture at all of them, you get one of the free bumper stickers for have you seen me, Braxy?
Yes. And I grabbed some of those when I was in the store as well. But then, so we went there and we went to literally a restaurant called The Spot. And The Spot has, first of all, one of the best blackberry shakes I've ever had. And Mark got a hand-dipped cone because it was that time. But it's right near where the incident happened, because where the incident actually happened is private property. So we're going to state, do not just go walking over there. But The Spot gets you close enough. And they have amazing sandwiches, just a fun little restaurant. And
the Spot is right near where the sighting of the original crash happened, and then they go up the hill to where the incident occurs. But the beautiful thing about the Spot is they also have these amazing sandwiches that they call the saucers, and they look like giant calzones that are UFO shaped. It's really good. Definitely worth your stop. We went by Frametown, where the Frametown incident occurred, the next couple days, and we think that might be related. Everybody's now convinced that that's the Flatwoods Monster out of their case. But we'll do a deep dive on Flatwoods. We already did one, but we'll do another one again.
Yes.
But then I started saying, hey, we got a little time before we have to be at Grafton. Let's go to a couple other places, Erika. And I didn't tell you where we were going.
No. So, travelers, you know how I feel about things. So he's going, go right, go left. And I start feeling this heaviness. And I'm like, wait a minute, where are we going? But I, of course, really do try to trust Mark when he's like, this seems like a good idea. I shouldn't after the mushroom mines and other incidents. But
before we went to the terrible place, we went to this fun place that has a museum. And we went across a covered bridge, a famous covered bridge.
Yes.
The Philippi covered bridge, which had a very famous Civil War battle. And now this isn't the same historical bridge because it burned down in the 90s and they rebuilt it. But it's still very cool.
That's weird. Going through a long covered bridge like that, it's not something you do very frequently. So that was weird. And we get to
the old train station. Yeah, the old train station, which is a historical museum. Nice little historical museum. We went in and there's a giant statue, a wax figure of a very prominent person from the town's history. Who was that, Erika?
Lurch from the original Addams Family.
Yes.
The TV show. The original OG TV show, Lurch. Which, you got to love little towns that give homage to something like that. We do have a picture in front of it. But that is not completely the reason Mark wanted to stop there. However, we did see when we were there, which he didn't know was even there, was we saw one of the drums that marked the surrender of the Civil War. So
it was played at Appomattox Courthouse. So that is the drum that was there and witnessed the ending of the signing of the treaty of the Civil War. But yeah, right down the statue of Ted Cassidy, who lived in Philippi for a hot minute. So the town claims him as their own. They do have a Lurch Fest every year, and they bring the son of Lurch there, who is a spitting image of his dad, and they have the Lurch Festival. I wonder if they do the Lurch, the song that he sang. Oh my anyway, goodness. We were there for one specific thing that I had to introduce Erika to. She's like, "What?" And we're happy because they've been closed a lot, but they were open again. And for $1 donation, you get to see
the mummies. So this should start all of you travelers off on what happens kind of next. But so he's like, yeah, no, we'll pay $1. He's like, okay, go there, go here. And then in a back room, there are 2 mummies that were created. Mark has more of this story, but there are 2 actual mummy bodies in these 2 sort of wooden coffins with glass covers on them. And Mark says, hey, you know what? We need to get some pictures of this. And I'm like, no, what we need to do is leave. So Mark, you want to talk a little bit about the mummies? So
I don't want to give too much away because that's going to be in the next book, but go to the Philippi History Museum and see them. But they're not Egyptian mummies. They're not anything. They were bodies from a nearby place. Carrie saw them when we went before.
Yeah, they're notable because they have a unique preservation technique. So
yeah, and the fact that we don't understand what that technique is, this man bought bodies from a nearby location because they were just, hey, it's a way to buy medical bodies and experiment. And this guy experimented and he created these, and then they tried to sell them to the Smithsonian. The Smithsonian doesn't want anything to do with them. But they are still sealed, and we kind of have an idea how they work now, but they're there on loan to the museum, and it's worth your trip. But that location that they're from was our next destination. I had to take Erika here.
Okay. So I just got the heebie-jeebies even just thinking it for a second. So Mark goes, okay, turn here. We're driving through this town, and I start feeling heavy, like a heaviness. And then he's like, oh yeah, just go over this little bridge and make a left. And we go over this little bridge, make a left, and on our right, where he's like, hey, just turn in here, is Trans-Allegheny Asylum.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Nope. I can't even say nope enough times when I realized where we were. Yeah. Gary, we went in. Yeah, we went in because I'm so discombobulated right now. Because Mark's like, we just need to get a couple pictures for the next book. Mark has a very charming way of talking me into doing these things. And so luckily I was wearing my iron pendant. I always travel with my protection crystals and stuff. So we get out of the car at the front of the building, and I'm going to talk more about this in our new book because there's a lot of things I felt and I saw, but then he's like, well, we just need to go to the stairs. We'll just go to the front steps and get a picture, right? And then he's like, oh, wait, there's just the gift shop. And so, like, I get suckered into getting into this building and going into the gift shop. By the way, standing behind the counter is a nurse. And I'm like, is anyone else seeing this? Like, it looked like a nurse from when the asylum was open. And I literally thought I was seeing a full body apparition. I wanted to run out of the room. And then Mark says, what do you say, Mark?
I just say, well, hey, isn't it interesting? The volunteers here at the asylum dress as nurses from the time in historical garb. And oh, okay.
And then, sitting on a shelf in there is I guess the patients did like masks and different artwork to do things.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting on the mask there, sitting on the shelf is a mask from one of the people who was convicted of killing his roommate in the asylum, and he's known as a bedpost killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there's more of this inside, Erika. Let's go take the tour.
Look,
nope.
That's not how he says it. That's not how he says it. First of all, there is a list in there, and you can purchase this list of all the reasons you could be taken to this asylum. And some of them are terrifying, and some of them you have to go, are you kidding me? Like, there was one that was a woman no longer wants to have sex with her husband. Apparently that's a reason you can be institutionalized back then.
Yeah. And there was what was hysteria? Yeah, women's hysteria was different from hysteria, and then masturbation hysteria was different from all of that.
And then 30 plus year masturbation hysteria, that's its own category. So if you've done that for more than 30 years, that's its own illness per this chart. There was one, just to give you an idea, married to son, married to cousin. Those were, I don't even have them all in my head. Because
it's incredible. It's an incredible poster that you can get.
Yeah, he's like, hey, here's the lobby area. And by the way, this place does a haunt. It does tours. You can absolutely go to it. We heavily recommend it. We'll put it in the show notes.
I'm not $7 for the museum. All the money. It's it's a little more for the paranormal tour. It's a little more for the the walking the history tour. This is just the main building. There are all these outlier buildings they built later where they kept the criminally insane and stuff like that. And the one thing they do say insane there because they're trying to reduce the stigmatism of mental health. They're like, it's okay to say insane. And that's one of their shirts is stop the stigma, embrace your insanity. I love that. They have tons of great shirts. They do run a haunted attraction there in October that they use in one of the side buildings. And it's incredible. Definitely worth your time. Definitely worth your time. Even if Erika had to run and make like a Roger Rabbit imprint in the door, I think they'll fix that with some of the money we gave them. And one thing before we left, because we have a couple other things we want to talk about before the break, but before we left, Mark then slowly goes, look, they have furniture from back then, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, how much is the walking tour person at the desk? And then I noped. I was like, he's pulling out his wallet, and I'm like, nope. And I ran out of the building, got in the car, and I was like, we're leaving. That's it. Nope. I've had enough. And so, Mark and his little deceptive trying to get Erika into haunted places. But I will tell you this, travelers, it is absolutely haunted, and there's absolutely a ton of negative energy around there. So if you want a creepy experience, Trans-Allegheny, and even if you take all the paranormal things away from it, the history of that place alone is terrifying. So as I sprinted to the car, leaving an Erika size print out the door, we then made our way to the Grafton Festival, and we were very lucky enough to stay right on one of the most beautiful lakes I've seen, which was, Mark, Tiger Lake State Park, which is amazing. It's another one of those where they dammed up a couple rivers and made a man-made lake. There's a lot of little history there, some spooky stories there, and that's just right next. It's in Grafton, basically.
It is Grafton, and we stayed at their lodge.
Yeah, the festival put us up at the lodge, which was very fancy. We had a Lakeview hotel room. It was amazing. The restaurant there is incredible. The whole staff there was amazing.
Shout out to Cameron. Cameron, we appreciated you thoroughly. Cameron helped us every single day and was one of the most amazing, and gave us his super secret Mothman stickers. So if you find Cameron, you can go, hey, I'm a traveler, and buy from them one of their super secret Mothman stickers, which was amazing. And then we got to meet one of the park rangers, and she introduced me to her new puppy, Rusty, who was
one of the wild animals, one of the many wild animals at the nature center there is Rusty. So.
But man, I'm so jealous. I love rangers.
But she did say they have a very wonderful turtle there that you have to go visit. So
is it a snapper?
I know I don't know. I didn't ask far enough, so that's why we needed you there.
Yeah, so, we needed you, Carrie, because I got Rusty. I got to hold Rusty. She brings Rusty with her. But then we got to go to a VIP dinner and then have Grafton Monster Festival the next day, which was nice because the Grafton Monsters showed up for the festival, which is always nice when the monsters show up for the festival. And there was a tremendous amount of people from the Fallout 76 game, which I appreciated too, propping up the Monster Festival. But the Grafton Monster Festival was really fun. We got to see a lot of travelers. We got to sit right next to some of our favorite people. Yeah, we were next to the Mountain Monsters guys. Some of the Ames team was there. Jeff and Trapper were there. And then on next to us was Tony, whose last name is escaping me right now. These guys, I'm sorry, guys. My last names, I'm bad. But Tony, we'll tag you. Our favorite skeptic was there. That's Kenny Biddle. Yeah, Kenny Biddle. And he'd been brought there by Daniel Reed from the West Virginia Skeptic Society. And hopefully we'll get both of them on the show soon. If you want the skeptical side, but they still teach you how to investigate. They still teach you how to do it because they're trying to make it so that you can't disprove it, the stuff you find. But they will show you how a lot of the stuff you think you've got isn't what you got. So they're amazing. Les O'Dell was there. Les O'Dell, he's one of my research partners for the West Virginia books. He's written books on West Virginia dark tourism and West Virginia legends. Tony next to us, he's written a ton of great books. He has the Gray Barker collection, which we did an episode. I did a little mini episode on Gray Barker. So he has access to all that. So he's one of my go-tos for research. And then we had Arcane Carolinas across from us. They'd come up as far as we did. Yeah. So it was very cool. It was a good crowd to be with. Shout out to Moth Boys who came by and said hi. We're going to do a Tradesy podcast with them shortly. So we'll have them on. Yeah, they were stuck in the art center, which apparently the air conditioner went down, and Grafton was hot, gang. It was muggy and hot. Warm. Yeah. But there were a ton of vendors. It is a really fun festival, and they're building it up, and the city's embracing it. So you should check it out next year. I think next year we won't be necessarily back, but we're going to be coming frequently, probably every other year to it, just because so many monster festivals are around the same time. So we have to. Our wonderful producer Bo Lake came and she signed some books ahead of time for everybody. She was pushing. Bo. She pushes all the buttons for us, so we love Bo. It was nice that she's there. She's recovering from it, so she couldn't be on this episode. And her amazing husband. So shout out to Mike. Yeah, shout out to Mike. And then we left because it rained like never rained before. I mean, like a Florida rain, and it terrified us. So we bailed. A lot of the speakers had to bail at that point. It was 5 o'clock somewhere. We were pretty close to 5. We'd almost stayed the whole day. And then I think everybody almost did, but it wasn't like a little sprinkle rain. It was like torrential downpour, which had threatened the entire weekend, which we were a little afraid of for both us and where Carrie was. And unfortunately, we learned some not great news, Mark, about that. While we were leaving, the rain did go north and hit Wheeling, West Virginia, and that part, the Ohio border there. There was massive flooding, and many people have died. They still don't know the death toll as the time of this recording. It's bad. Goodness. So they had like flash floods and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty sad. And that could have been us. It literally, if it had been just a couple miles south, we would have caught it. We were just getting the sides of it, but we didn't even know. We drove back, and Tigert. We let Bo stay in our place for the night. Tigert was amazing. It was beautiful. We passed deer that did not care that we were in cars, and rabbits and all kinds of animals up there, groundhogs and the usual stuff. Yeah. But we did have 2 ravens on our way up. Yeah. We had a raven, many ravens, and on our way back. So we had a good omen to get all the way back. And so our ride back was fun and educational, mainly for me, Mark telling me stories the whole way. And
you got to drive over the New River Gorge right at sunset.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If you guys have never been to the New River Gorge, we're going to include it. But wow. Wowie kazowie. And then Mark was telling me how people had to drive down and up it before that bridge went in. And no, I have zero interest in doing that activity. Thank you.
No. But anyway, so that was research for the new book as well. I was getting Erika to some of these places so she'd have a little more boots on the ground experiences. And then we came home, and Carrie, you had a little bit of rain at the end, you said?
But very little. We were so lucky it was a beautiful day. Like the weather forecast was like 70% torrential thunderstorm.
Same.
Nope. Like a few dark clouds blew over and it was really nice. So
well, we'll link Dot's Adventures video of that.
Yeah.
And we just had a great time. Thank you all at Grafton for hosting us. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and the hospitality in the house, you guys were amazing. And I think both Eerie Travels teams, even though we had to divide and conquer, had an amazing time. So if we didn't mention you, we're terribly sorry, but thank you so much for everything. And we're going to take a quick break now. And when we come back, we're going to give you guys some listener tales because we have been stocked up. And so we want to share those with you.
Yep. So we'll be right back.
Okay, before we dive into the madness, I want to mention one other of my favorite things that I saw on the way back over the mountains. I told you about it. Do you know?
I'm trying to remember. Go ahead.
The fireflies.
Oh, yes.
I love fireflies so much. I love these long summer nights where even though it was like 8 o'clock, like there was still a little bit of light and all the fireflies were out. So sorry, that's one of my favorite things ever.
The synchronous fireflies
are coming
in the next couple weeks, and unique thing in the Smoky Mountains, unique in the world. I think there's one place in Romania that might do it. It's raining again. We've been trying to dry out the tents from all the rain that both of us hit, and now every time we lay them out, we cause more rain.
Okay, I gotta go fix this.
Go fix that. Bye, Carrie. Bye.
Carrie. Okay, I love fireflies too. I agree. There's a lottery at Caves Cove. Nobody should enter it because me and Mark are still trying to win.
Yes, I know people who've entered every year for decades and have never gone, and I know a couple people who've entered every year and have gone like 5 times. I went once, and it's probably one of the most breathtaking things you'll ever see. The fireflies blink in unison, or as we call them in West Virginia and Kentucky, lightning bugs. So, which I think is a better name. So,
yes, agreed. All
right.
So let's dive in.
Yeah, we're not going to get through all the listener tales again. We got a bunch to go through. So we'll get as many as we can here for the next half hour. Enjoy, gang. You want to start?
So,
or
yes, I'll start.
I don't want to.
Here we go.
I don't want to steer you.
Okay, here we go. The house I live in was built in the 1800s in Chillicothe, Ohio.
So ahead of this, just so we all know, anytime we're reading names, anytime we're reading stuff, we're not geographical experts. We are historical buffs. Historical buffs. See, I can't even pronounce that. We are going to butcher names. We apologize.
Yeah. So, and also, I don't do any reading. Sometimes Mark peruses. We all know that, but I don't do any
some
reading.
Of these I need to read out. Yes, yeah. Some of these I need to reach out to. So,
yeah. If you hear me say it wrong, I apologize greatly. You can always let me know, and you can let us know if we don't even get it right when we think we've got it right, because we want to learn. But we're not going to know everything. Here we go. Okay. The house I live in was built in the 1800s in
Chillicothe, Ohio.
Good, because I knew I was going to say it wrong again. There have been lots of experiences by plenty of people in this house. Yep. Okay, I already got goosebumps. Here we go. Things like hearing your name called by a family member, but the family member isn't there, or seeing a family member run up the stairs only to run into her again. 1 minute later, she's just coming in the door and nobody was upstairs. The kids, 12 and under, have made claims of something dark pushing them, growling, messing with their electronics, giving them nightmares, yanking a pillow from under their head, etc. Okay, why have you not burned this down? That's all I'm going to say before I continue the story. Okay, we don't know what to make of what the kids are saying. None of the adults have experienced anything dark, but we've had other experiences. I'm starting to wonder if something dark is here and it's only messing with the kids in a negative way because it knows the adults may not believe the kids' stories because the kids very much known for their storytelling or for fibbing. I believed them that something was going on. I just wasn't sure if they were exaggerating. Listen to the children. We've said this a million times. Okay, here we go. Yesterday, my niece, 5 years old, freaked me the fuck out. There's a missing ceiling tile in one of the rooms. My dad's working on a light, so you can see between the first floor and the second floor. It's about a 10-inch tall space. Well, I watched as my niece followed something with her eyes and got an excited look on her face. We have green balloons, she squealed. Okay. Ugh. Okay. I was confused AF. I looked up at the ceiling and noticed the tile missing and asked what she was talking about. She told me she saw a green balloon go theatrical hand movements towards the back of the room and a swooshing kind of sound. There was absolutely nothing up there, though. Not a thing. We absolutely took action every time the kids told us something happened just because we weren't sure which events were made up and which ones weren't. We still acted on them just in case. The reason we are so skeptical when it comes to the boys is because they have admitted to telling stories. They would tell stories to try to scare each other and would wind up scaring themselves into believing something was there multiple times. Something really could have been there, though. We just don't know. We always took it seriously in case because there's obviously something going on in the house. My niece was so adamant she saw the balloon and now believes we hide them up there. I watched her, quote unquote, see whatever it was. I watched her follow its movements. She focused on something else entirely until whatever caught her eye. She hadn't talked about balloons at all while she was here. There have been no more parties here for a long while. What did my niece see? In my mind, I'm thinking a balloon resembles a head, so there's got to be something strange between the floors, or aliens or access decided to spy on us. See you on the other side, Stephanie.
Oh, man.
Tend to see stuff. I mean, we talk about that all the time because they're not that they can't fib and stuff, but they're dispositioned to think, words are failing us today, Mark, that these things are real. So who knows? But it sounds like you got a little something not fun up there. And guess what? We've all seen it. Don't follow balloons. I don't care what color they are. It's a terrible plan.
The green means go, Erika. Green means go.
No, green means it means go out of that house and burn it to the ground. But Stephanie, you might want to get a team in there. If you want, let us know. We can help connect you with that. But
I mean, it's worth investigating at the very least. It's worth investigating. It sounds like some unusual activity alone that's been there for a while. There might be some history to it. There might be some other things. It could just be something simple. It could be, imagination or something, but I think you got, definitely worth an investigation. Let's just leave it at that. So
agreed. But thank you, Stephanie.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right. So, hey guys. So to make a long story short, a lot of weird occurrences has happened on my friends' properties. We hear each other's names being called when the voice of said person is not home. Hey, that sounds very familiar. Things scratched on the outside doors, opened the doorknob. We smell sulfur, seen weird shadows, and more. I could go on forever. Anyways, we have always gotten the feeling that something on this land likes to mimic us, pets, etc. Last night at around 1 a.m., we heard a bird chirping. Clearly what you normally hear in the mornings, coming from a spot on the property where it was so dark you could not see. I know this may sound stupid, but we feel like that was not actually a little bird. Does that sound at all familiar to you? Is it a mimic? Thanks. They live deep in the woods of North Carolina, and I think you all are from around here. Pony Boy.
Oh, I love the Pony Boy reference. That's from Outsiders.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with I'm moving. So now that I know that's here, that's what's going to happen.
Now, we've heard the Appalachian stories about, echoes in the woods, mimics in the woods. If you hear your name called, you didn't.
Yeah, no, I was going to say this sounds a lot like what we hear are the hide behinds and things like that. So our advice is always pretend like you're not listening to it. Don't respond to it. Don't go in the direction of it, because maybe it's playful, but sometimes they're not and are just trying to lure you to where they are. So it sounds like you definitely have something fun living on the property. Again, if you'd like, we have a ton of teams here in North Carolina that would love to investigate it. Up to you, your discretion, but Pony Boy loved the reference.
And there are some birds that do chirp at night, just not a lot of them. So
yes, that's true.
And
they
watch,
don't really sound like the morning birds.
Yeah. And watch My Cousin Vinny for the night they stay in the cabin, and it's the first time they ever hear a screech owl. So great reaction. Great reaction. So, all right.
Okay.
Go on, Erika. I think you're going to like this next title. I like the start of this.
Yes. Greeting, travelers from Poland.
Greetings.
Yes. For many years, I still don't know if it was my childhood imagination. I used to tell friends that I saw, quote unquote, something in my house. Usually I'd say it might have been a ghost, but honestly, I have no idea. I can't say exactly how old I was, but I was definitely still in primary school. And I think that's elementary here in the United States, to do the analogy. Yeah. Okay. It happened in winter, Poland, 2009, most likely, probably a few days after Christmas Eve, because I was playing with a Lego set I got as a gift. As you should. I love Legos. Absolutely. Yeah. It was already dark outside. The lights were on in my room, and I was playing on the carpet across from the door that opened into a lit hallway. From that angle, looking out the door, I could see a wall and the banister around the space above the stairs. I was really focused on playing. My eyes were down, but for some reason, maybe because I noticed movement out of the corner eye, I looked and glanced towards the door. That's when I saw it. From the left side of the door frame, a figure. Okay. Ooh, got the heebie-jeebies. I don't love that. Okay, I feel like you were reading in advance of me reading this and knew that was going to happen. I don't know how Mark does it, but I feel like he sets me up every time.
I'm a fast reader, but yeah.
Yeah. From the left side of the door frame, a figure slowly started to emerge. It must have been over a meter tall, which is 6 feet, 9 feet?
3.5.
3.5 feet. Sorry, no taller than a meter and a half. It was a strange color, so not so much figure itself, but the aura surrounding it. It was a mix between purple and celadon, which is blue,
greenish, like sea green. I think sea blue. Yeah,
we could be completely wrong there, Travis.
I may be wrong.
Look these things up.
I'm a straight man. I don't know colors.
Yeah, it was floating in the air, maybe half a meter off the ground, to say exactly. I was just a kid sitting on the floor, so I had to look up slightly. It had a bent legs and a bit of a hunch, and the position slowly drifted to the right through the air. I don't remember what it was wearing exactly, but I know it had clothes, purple for sheer, pants, and black leather shoes. It looked like a formal outfit. It appeared to be male. I remember it had a fairly large head, so big it looked disproportionate to the rest of its body, with a black mop of hair and big ears. The face features were hard to tell. I saw it from profile. Definitely very prominent cheekbones and a big nose. I froze for about 3 seconds. I couldn't move. I was in shock. Then a wave of chills hit me and fear took over. For the record, traveler who sent this, I'm experiencing all those things that you're saying right now myself. So, okay. Then, wave chills. Okay, immediately look back at the Lego bricks and started pretending to play. In my head, I'm thinking, just pretend you're playing. Maybe it won't notice you. Pretend you didn't see it. But after a few seconds, I couldn't process what I had seen or whether I had seen something or if it was just my imagination. I might have believed it was all in my head to this day, if not for what happened next. Curiosity won out, which would never happen to me, by the way. Curiosity won out. I looked up again without lifting my head too much because I was afraid it still might be there. And then I saw it from the right side of the door frame. Part of the figure was still visible. After a short moment, it moved completely out of view. I was stunned, terrified, sat there for a while, trying to gather my courage to run to my parents who were in the living room downstairs. When I finally managed to do it, I ran out of the room looking to the right out of fear. It was still there, bolted down the stairs, and sat on the couch next to my parents. I didn't say a word from them. I just took comfort in the feeling of safety, and I was scared they wouldn't have taken me seriously. I didn't have the strength to try to explain it to them because the emotions I had just gone through completely drained me. The thing never even looked at me. It was like it didn't know I had seen it. I didn't tell any of my friends at school either, as I didn't want to be laughed at. For the next few days, I felt uneasy anytime I played in my room, afraid I'd see it again. It took years before I told anyone, usually after a few drinks, and only in vague terms of saying I had seen something I couldn't explain without going into detail, so I wouldn't sound like a weirdo. Has anyone ever encountered something like this? Was it just my imagination? It keeps bothering me is that when I looked again, it was still there. If it wasn't for that second glance, I wouldn't even think twice and would have assumed it was my imagination. Roman. Well, thank you, Roman, for terrifying me with this story. Yes, that happened. And Roman, you saw something you couldn't explain. We call it preternatural. I don't know what that thing was, but I'll tell you again, we sometimes there's proven through science that there are other dimensions out there. So you could have seen a dimension shift, a glitch in the matrix, something that got switched into our world from a different one. Like, who knows what it is, but I wouldn't doubt that you actually saw it. And I agree with you. It's one thing if you see it and it vanishes and you can go, was that my imagination? But when you look up and you see it again, it's probably there. So that's my thoughts. Mark, what about you?
Yeah. Again, an auditory or a visual hallucination, they tend to disappear when you can focus out of them. I mean, sometimes they don't. That's why mental health is a thing. And you'll hear voices, you'll hear things and stuff like that. But this sounds like you saw something that was wasn't trying to talk to you, but was there, and your perception picked it up. We don't use as much perception as other animals and stuff like that. I do think there are ways and means for us to start studying this. I think it would have been nice if we could study this scientifically and seriously and not worry about, and that's the problem. You didn't tell anybody for decades. That stuff could be going on in that house for years and nobody talks about it. Your family could have seen it and never talked about it. That's why it's so important. Tell your stories, document your stories. You never know. And honestly, we're so much better now about not thinking people are crazy. So
and we don't think you're a weirdo, Roman. No. So hello to Poland from the Eerie Travels podcast. Yes. I love that. Hi. And thank you for sending your story. No, that was absolutely amazing. Okay, Mark, over to you.
All right. I'm really scared to tell you all this one. Oh, okay, joy.
Let's skip it then. Let's move on.
No. Let's do this. So I'm aware that I can see and speak to ghosts, and I've been able to for some time now. Things like that don't typically scare me. I mean, I play horror games for fun, but I have a story that kind of worries me. So one time, me and my two brothers were playing a game outside in the dark. We basically were playing a horror video game in real life. While we were playing, we heard a scratching sound come from the garage. I wasn't really worried because we were at our farm and strange sounds out there are normal. But then we heard it again and got curious. So we went to the garage and we just hung around there. Then I heard something say, leave. And I asked why, thinking one of my brothers said it. They both looked confused. And then I realized they didn't say that. And since we might be in danger. But I also realized that since they didn't know what I was talking about, and only I heard it, I knew we had to leave. So I make up a fake story about how I saw a creature in the garage that wasn't there, and we went inside. What do you think, Erika? Did I do the right thing, Teresa?
10,000%, Teresa. The only thing I would have added to it, as we know, is what, Mark?
You would have burned the barn down.
Yes, it was the garage, but I would have
yeah.
absolutely burned it down. Yes, and left. But Teresa, man, you did the right thing. I feel you from the being able to see and speak to them. I totally get it. But you know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes listen. You don't have to put your foot down and be like, no, this is our space, blah, blah, blah. If someone tells you to leave, leave. Like, you did absolutely the right thing, Teresa. I am proud of you. Yes.
I think some sense of self-preservation chased you out of there, and that's great. So you actually heard your self-preservation tell you. So good for you. So
yes. Oh,
all right, Erika.
A fun one. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Teresa. Oh my gosh, Erika, this is from that email.
Wow, here we go. Regarding the quote-unquote Eerie Travels broadcasts from Agency Liaison X. Okay.
What?
To the producers and hosts of Eerie Travels. Well, Bo, you just got wrapped into that bad boy.
Yeah, you're in now.
This correspondence is to acknowledge receipt and review of your recent broadcasts. We observe the content you are disseminating aligns with established operational parameters. Okay, I just got the heebie-jeebies. Okay, tingles through my whole body. I don't love this. Okay, we have observed your content you are disseminating aligns with established operational parameters. Your current trajectory of inquiry and the nature of your reportage are, for the moment, satisfactory. We anticipate this continued adherence. Thank you for understanding. X is currently on another assignment. You are still being observed. Sincerely, Liaison to X.
Wow. And it's interesting. The English is just off enough. It's very interesting.
That is interesting because X has never had the way this is, because there's a couple spelling errors, but X
he's never had anything.
And this came from the same email address that X normally uses that we can't track down. So
So okay, this is somebody else. This is almost like somebody who doesn't quite understand the language.
Yeah.
Too. It's very weirdly worded. And X has always been very colloquial, even though it sounds kind of sciencey. So this is interesting.
Well, thank you, Liaison to X and all of your brothers, I think he called them before in the past.
I think this is probably one of the brothers. So
so yes, okay, good.
Yeah,
so
fun. Well, I'm glad to know X is on an assignment and doing well, hopefully.
Yes.
So, good for him.
Yeah, so I think let's both do one more. How does that sound, Mark?
That sounds good. Wow, that's fun. We haven't heard from them in a while, so that was nice.
It's good, and nice. I hope his assignment goes well, because
okay, so my turn. I, a 29-year-old male, always kept this to myself. Of course, like we just said, please report these things. I was hanging out with my brothers, 22 male and 31 male, and we brought up some scary things we've seen. 2002, Utah, USA, the home I was born in had 3 floors. We all slept upstairs, and the stairs heading to the main floor had an elbow at the end, so you rounded a corner to be facing the front door. I grew up in a house very similar. I would have been 7 or 8 years old, but one night I woke up parched, so I walked downstairs to get a drink. When I rounded that corner, there was a man, very tall and completely shaded. I can't remember a single feature. It scared me so bad I fainted. Never happened to me again, I don't know how I ended up back in my bed. 2005, 2014, Utah, USA. My family moved a couple hours away from that home a year or two later. I didn't see this person again until in my teens. I randomly would see them at night, once outside my window in high school and a few times in my room in the middle of the night. I figured I was lucid dreaming or whatever. The only time I told anyone was with the incident of them being outside my window, which I told my dad. And the next day he was concerned and looked for footprints, but found nothing else. About a decade later, talking to my brothers, my older brother, he said we had all had those same experiences, including the walking downstairs and seeing someone in our first house. My oldest brother even mentioned that it crawled out from under his bed. His bed had been vibrating like magic fingers. And then he saw the thing appear after rising from a haze under the bed. At the new house, they would also see them standing outside in the middle of the cul-de-sac. They had also mentioned it to my dad, who had ran out of the house armed multiple times to confront this person who would always disappear. I was shocked to hear my older brothers had had the same experience as I did and described the person the exact same way. They weren't pulling my leg either. I could see my youngest brother's face that he was as shocked as I was. We're not weirdos either. We're both successful engineers with normal track records as regular people, but I was just curious what everybody else would think or if anybody had heard similar experiences. I heard your show while a friend was playing it at work, and I heard you mention monsters under the bed, and it triggered this memory. I hope it was okay to share. Leon.
Leon, thank you for sharing it. We can't say that enough times. That is the part of the point, is we want to create a safe space for when you have these experiences. But I'll tell you, like, it sounds like something was following your family. Like one of you, maybe a piece of furniture, maybe an item. We never know what these things get attached to, but you absolutely saw it. What's interesting to me is the way you're describing this is you guys appear to not have seen it out of adolescence or childhood, or, you know, from when you were turned over 18 or 21, Leon. I'd be very curious to hear if any of this continued into adulthood, or did it suddenly like stop when you guys went away to college? Because if it did, my guess is it's something to do with other members of your family or something in the house. That's my thoughts, Mark. And by the way, complete heebie-jeebies. I do not enjoy that story. Please tell me where the house is so I don't go there.
Yeah. No. It's funny that you heard the Erika wanting monsters in the bed and it triggered this. So hopefully you tune in some more. I hope you hear this one. Thank you, Leon. It's some crazy story there. Not crazy. It's interesting. It's a wild story. I love it. I think like Erika said, I think there's something to it that needs investigation. So again, if we can find out where that was, so we can reach out to the current owners of the house or something. But the fact that it followed you to the next, the fact that it followed you to the next house may be some sort of familial thing. So we'll see. Yeah. All right, Erika, last one, and it's addressed to you.
Oh, it is. And just for the record, when we use the word crazy, we're meaning it in a wild, fantastical sort of way, not something wrong with it.
Not like Trans-Allegheny lunatic asylum.
Yes, that was crazy. That's what I can say. That entire trip. Okay, here we go. Hey, Erika. Hello. Hey. You said you wanted monster under the bed stories. I journaled this one about 10 years ago for you. Okay, now I'm actually scared. I should stop asking for these things, but I'm not going to, because I love and get terrified by them. So
I love that you journaled this 10 years ago, just waiting for us to do this podcast. That's the way that reads, and it's great. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And obviously it was waiting for me in this request. So here we go. My sister was 2 years older than me. We shared a room all up until the time she was 19 and moved to college. This story is when she was little, a story that she told me when I was little, and one that my mother and I still talk about today. My sister is now trying to convince herself it was a bad dream, but she never did like talking about it. When she was 2, maybe 3 years old, she had the room to herself with a white metal bed at the wall in the corner. I know this from a photo taken at the time. They had only lived in the house for 2 months when she started crying out in the middle of the night. My parents would rush to calm her down. She would speak about how there was a monster under her bed. You know, typical kid stuff. My dad would tell her it's just a dream, but my mom, who lived her whole life with quote unquote strange things happening to her, was more concerned. It continued to happen each time my sister would give more detail about the monster. It has pee-pee eyes and poop under its nails, she would say. It smells really bad. So I'm assuming pee-pee would be yellow eyes, and then dirt under its nails or something that smelled bad. Okay. My mother kept hoping it was a childish nightmare and would pass, but when my sister started calling it by name, my mother became worried. Her name is Dayashi. Am I saying that correctly? Daishi. Dayashi. Mother also owned a black cat, and every time my sister would scream, my mother would open the door and it would run the cat straight under the bed. My mother recalls hearing the cat dash around under the bed like it was chasing something. Dayashi hates black cats, my sister told her. The cat would even stand guard while my sister slept. I've read that black cats ward off evil spirits and demons. Well, that is ironically why they became so hunted and the Black Plague happened, but that is a whole other witchcraft episode. Okay, I love that the cat was the guardian. Okay, from what my sister would tell me, in the night, Dashi would talk to her. It would keep my sister up all night just talking, always trying to get my sister under the bed. She said it had a harsh, low voice, and my sister would know when she was there by the smell. It would look over the side of her bed and see an arm gesturing for her to come. No, no. Okay. I had asked her how she knew what the eyes looked like. And she said, because one time she tricked me. She had gone into her room and our elder half-sister was sitting on the bed. Our elder half-sister lived in Hawaii and sometimes would visit us. My sister was happy to see her and they started to play tag. At one point, my elder sister goes under the bed and tells my sister, it's okay, let's play under here. Of course, she would trust her sister. She goes under the bed and my sister starts tickling her. But then it turns into painful scratching and her face starts changing. I remember seeing the face, but I can't remember the detail. Just bright yellow eyes and dirty long nails. I don't know what happened after that. This went on for a few more months, but around the time I was born, it stopped. The monster never came back. But a few years later, my mother was looking through some of her spirit books. One of the books had a list of names for well-known evil spirits and demons. She was skimming over till she saw something familiar, Dayashi. Mother said she froze, staring at the name, making sure she was reading it right. She flipped to the section and it described the demon. It was something like the Dayashi. A demon spirit would appear before children. It smells of rotting flesh and has bright yellow eyes. Body shape unknown. I remember my coming to get us and showing us the page. Since then, the book has vanished. My mom has no idea what happened to it. And I know it was a real book because I remember reading it. We still live in the house, and my sister and I slept in that room for years. Even as I type this, my bed is in the same corner against the wall my sister's bed had. I sometimes wonder why it left when I was born, but then again, some weird things happened to me through my childhood. None as scary as a demon under my bed. Rami. Okay. Rami, I don't even have words. Oh, like, nope. Nope, 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 nope. Mark. What are your thoughts, my friend? You know, what's the best part is sometimes Mark accidentally hits mute on himself, and so far he's talking and has forgotten he's muted himself.
I forgot I'm on mute because I was clacking for a minute just to see if I could figure out Dayashi. There's a few, I think it was a horned demon, and there's also there's some Japanese ones that have similar names. So wow, that got me.
That got me, and I something was there. And it's very interesting, but I kind of wonder if it couldn't take on two of you. That is my guess with why that's a reason it could have disappeared, because a lot of times singularly focused. And I'm sorry your sister went through all that. That sounds absolutely horrific. But I've heard of things like this before, not necessarily with the name, but something, that's why we talked about Monster Under the Bed, because something was trying to go for it, right?
Yep.
So
something was feeding into that. And
yes. And Rami, I insist you send me your other stories. What? You have other stories and you haven't sent them? What is going on, man? So we're going to need those. Absolutely.
They don't have to be scary. They can just be unusual. Like I said, that's fine. We love them all. Oh my gosh, gang. You gave us some chills on this one. This was wild and woolly. All right. As was our trip. So this was perfect. So
yes, it was wonderful. And keep the stories coming. Oh my gosh, we love hearing them. They're amazing. I mean, also terrifying. There's a lot of terrifying today for Erika. And I'm so glad it's daylight out, because again, I won't do these tales when it's nighttime, because then Erika doesn't sleep well. But I want to thank all of our travelers for your continued support. We absolutely adore having you on these journeys with us. So don't forget, go to the Alien Festival, go to the Grafton Festival, go to the Flatwoods Festival, go to the West Carolina Bigfoot Festival, go visit all these towns, see all the chairs, go through all these places. We're going to include a lot of this in our new book, but absolutely, these are fun places to visit. And Mark, do you have any words of advice out there?
Well, real quick, again, just thank you, Patreon members, for keeping us going. Thank you so much, everybody at the festivals. That was amazing. We couldn't have done it without the support and being invited to these festivals. We will do as many as we can. If you want to see where we're going to be, EerieTravels.com. Carrie updates the list, and you can find all the places we're going to be. We have preview copies of the first book, and we'll talk up the next one. And we'd love to see you. We'd love to meet y'all. And if we can't make it to any of these, drop us a line. You can go to EerieTravels.com and there's a contact us. We're happy. If you want to drop listener tales, great. If you just want to email us, Erika and I love getting emails from y'all. So please just drop us a line, info@EerieTravels.com. It gets to us. Bo does the filtering and it gets to all of us. So
yes.
All that said, you ready, Erika?
I'm terrified, but yes, I think I am.
Okay, take your energy shot like you did on the road, and you'll be wired the rest of the day, so you don't have to worry about bad dreams. But when you're out there in the dark travels, gang, keep your eyes open for unusual places, fun places to go visit. That's part of the fun. Look for a fun festival, and when you get out there, learn the story behind it. Learn why Spruce Pine has an alien festival. Some sightings there. Learn why the Grafton has a monster festival. There's an amazing story behind that. We'll get to that at another time. And then when you're home, you see something spooky in the hall, or you hear a voice and you know that person's not there, or something beckons to you under the bed, just keep playing your Legos and ignore it. And we'll see you on the other side.